This is Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again. Sitting in a parking lot. It's raining out there. Yeah, what is the weather out there? Let me check my watch here real quick. 46 degrees. What happened to all our good weather? Yeah, just like a week ago we had like 90-degree weather. What happened? Rainy and cold. Yeah, we're not riding. We're not riding any bikes. So anyway, by the time you see this video, I'm going to push this one up forward. I have a lot of videos already recorded already. And so every time I push one forward, the other ones get pushed further back. Anyway, you probably saw the e-bike rack video I did on the Russ's Right channel by now, if you watch Russ's Right. Yeah, that's a good bike rack. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. So, but overall, that rack is pretty decent. I would highly suggest looking at it if you're looking at an e-bike rack for your car. The thing that I like about it is that you don't have to, first off, you don't have to lift your bike. You just roll it up there. And the thing that holds the front wheel, the wheel falls into that area. It doesn't, you don't have to lift it over something to get it into a little cradle, which is what the Magicycle rack had to do. So it's a little more difficult with the Magicycle rack. And the Magicycle rack in general is about $50 more expensive too on top of it. And this new rack will handle 200 pounds, which means even if your bikes were 100 pounds each, you can carry two 100-pound bikes. Now, keep in mind that, no matter what your bike is rated for in terms of weight, take the batteries off when you transport. That'll cut a lot of the weight right there. Yeah. Plus, it's safer if you take it off before you ride, before you drive, that is. And so I would highly recommend you do that. So if you take the batteries off, most of the bikes will be able to fit in there. Yeah. Somebody mentioned the Magicycle Cruiser, or the wired cruiser. Yeah, the wired cruiser would fit in there. Yeah. Even their new 72-volt version of that bike, what do they call that thing? I can't remember the names of these bike models. What is it called? The Warrior? I have no idea. Whatever it is. The Scout. There you go. The Scout is the one that I'm hoping to get. That's a step-through version. I think it's the Warrior and the Scout, something like that. Yeah, those would fit on that bike rack. And if you take the two batteries out, the weight drops because those bikes are like 140 something pounds. Take the two batteries out, and it drops the weight. But your second bike then would have to be like an 80-pound bike, something like that, or less. So yeah, you don't want to exceed the 200 pounds. That's the key. All right, anyway, so what did we want to talk about today? Well, I finished going to my grocery shopping on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are the day that the ads come out. So we noticed that if you want to get any of the special sale things that are going on, you got to be among the first guys to get out there. So I was out there already in the morning getting all the things that I needed to get. And now I'm early. It's too early to go to Costco. It's 9 o'clock. So I figured I'd just come in here, turn on the camera, and talk to you guys. Let you guys keep me company. Yeah. The most recent video we talked about is, starting a YouTube channel for those people who are interested. I know at least one of you guys said that you were interested in hearing more about it. Let me give you a little tidbits here and there, okay? So I remember when I first started recording video, I had a huge VHS, super VHS recorder. It was with big camcorders, the big ones that you put on your shoulder. Remember those things? Yeah, I had one of those from Panasonic. I think it was called AG450, something like that. It's an industrial version. So even though it's kind of like a consumer camera, it's kind of built like the industrial television cameras. It's kind of big and heavy, but it's still light enough for a consumer to use. But I used it for some forensic work that I did. And I eventually ended up selling it on eBay for dirt cheap because people were getting away from that. We ended up buying a High 8 camcorder. Do you guys remember these High 8 machines? Yeah, it's been a while. I still have it. It's in my closet. I was hoping to pull it out to show you, but I've got too many bikes and things in the way in that room. I can't get to it. But those are smaller handheld cameras, right? I'm recording this thing on a little camera that's only this big. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's the DJI Action 5 Pro. And many of the people use GoPros. Yeah, I used GoPro for the first 3 years, and I switched over to this DJI last year. So, yeah, cameras have evolved. Now, can you do it with a cell phone? You know, can you use one of these things? Yeah, you can use one of these things. Why not? You could even record this thing in 4K with this. So, yeah, there's no reason why you can't. A lot of people do use their cell phones to create YouTube videos, and they look really good. Now, the basic difference is if you're trying to get a cinematic type of look where you have, you know, things like, you know, your depth of field is a very shallow depth of field where you're in focus, background's way out of focus. You may not get that on this or like the GoPro or the DJI Action 5 Pro. You may not get that because the lenses on these type of cameras are pretty much fixed, and so everything's going to be in focus pretty much. But you know, for things like e-bike videos, that's what you want. You want to see everything. You don't want to just blur certain things out. But if you're doing product shots and things, then you want to have, you know, more creative look to it. In which case, these things won't cut it. Now, the iPhone does have the ability to create like a background blur, but that's for photos. Yeah, and for video, yeah, I don't think you can do it on a video. I've never tried it, but I don't think you can. It's post-processing stuff, so obviously on a video, it's kind of hard to do. So the biggest issue you would have using a cell phone is the sound, okay? Because if you're holding it at a distance away from you, of course the microphone's further away. It's not going to sound as good. The best thing really is to use a microphone, and you can do that, okay? If you bought like the DJI Mic 2, which is the one that I have on my chest here, and you bought the one that has two microphones, where, well, I mean, I don't know if you could buy just the one. I guess you could buy one with a receiver, but there's an ability to hook up a receiver to your cell phone so that this mic will feed the cell phone, okay? It's kind of a little bulky thing that attaches to the end of your cell phone, but it is an option to do that, and then you would have the audio quality of what you're hearing now from me, but using this to record. So there are things that you can do, right? So the mics, you know, they vary in price. I think these mics are about $100, and then I think if you bought it with, see, I bought two of these with the transmitter and the receiver, and I think that was probably 300 and something. I can't recall. Could be like $399. I mean, it's expensive. It's not cheap. But I find today, because I'm using this DJI Action 5 Pro camera, I can Bluetooth this directly there. I don't need any receiver or anything. It just goes directly from the mic to the camera. I mean, they developed both products, so obviously they made it so that it works. And you can buy an even cheaper mic. They have a mic mini, I think it's called, that's even smaller than this. I personally think this one sounds a little bit better when I've heard tests between the two, but you can get the mic mini for like $50. So you get the $50, you buy a DJI Action 5 Pro. I don't know how much are those things, about $350, something like that. So basically, if you did the mic mini with the DJI Action 5 Pro, you'd be about $400. Yeah, you could do it that way if you wanted a dedicated camera instead of using a cell phone. So there's choices. So really, to get involved, to do it properly, you could just do this, or you can do this with a better microphone, or you can do like the DJI Action 5 Pro with the microphone for about $400. So it's not that expensive. Now, as far as editing equipment is concerned, you could, if you have a desktop computer, which is really how I would suggest you do your editing rather than trying to do everything on the phone. I mean, DJI has editing functions on their app too. You could do it that way. But I use the Apple Final Cut Pro. That's about $300 or something like that for the Apple computers. But you could get the thing that's called the what is it called? DaVinci Resolve. That is a paid software, but also they have a free version, and a lot of people use the free version. So you could download that onto your computer and use that software. Yeah, so really it wouldn't cost you even anything to buy or to get editing software either. Then the only thing I would suggest is if you do these YouTube videos to upload either for your family or if you plan to do a regular YouTube channel, high-speed internet connection is helpful if you're shooting like 4K footage. You could shoot in 1080p, which is a lower resolution, but still very good, of course. You can shoot in 1080p, in which case, even a standard connection would work. If you're doing very long videos, that's when high-speed upload times is important for you. I finally did a speed test on the Xfinity service that I'm using, and I'm getting over 1,000 megabits per second for a download, which is no big deal for me. I don't need that. I'm not a gamer or anything like that. But what I needed at high-speed internet for was the upload time. My upload speed is just shy of 40 megabits per second, which is huge. Because I remember back in the day when we had dial-up. Remember dial-up? Acoustic modem even. Think about that. People would put a phone on the receiver thing, and it would it would connect. Or then they had wireless. Well, not wireless, but they had a modem where you didn't have to use the handset of a phone, right? Dial-up was really slow. I think if you got something like 2 something kilobits per second, I don't know, but it was really low. I don't know the technical of it, but it's really slow. And then when we were able to get a little faster speeds, we were getting like 5 megabits per second, and we thought that was fast. I tell you, 39 point something megabits per second upload is what I get now, and that's still, to me, not fast enough. I mean, to upload a video to you guys, if I'm doing a 15 to 20 minute video for you to see, it could upload in about 20 minutes maybe. I'm guessing something like that. I'm just kind of thinking. But if I'm doing a long form video, like some of my e-bike rides do like 40 minutes or longer, you can see how a faster speed is helpful. Otherwise, if you were doing standard internet connection and try to upload a 40-minute video that was shot in 4K video, it could be hours to get that uploaded. That's too much. I don't want to take that long. So I pay a lot of money for my high-speed internet connection. Yeah. It's not necessary. I mean, it works without. I would suggest if you're starting out, shoot in 1080p. Okay, don't shoot in 4K. 4K is almost like 4 times the amount of effort for the upload. So you don't want to do that. Start out in 1080p, and then set your camera for 1080p or whichever camera you're using, and then record maybe 30 frames per second. Even your frame rate will take it longer to upload. So what frame rate basically means is every second 30 actual still photos are shot. Okay, when you take still photos and you put them together within 1 second's time, you'll see 30 pictures in 1 second. So it creates what looks like motion, right? Like if I'm moving my hand. If you shoot 60 frames a second, there's more resolution. So it's taking 60 photos every second to create that one video, 1 second of video. So you figure the more your frame rate is, the higher amount of data there is recorded. It's going to take longer to upload. So what does it look like on the camera? Well, 30 frames a second, if I'm just sitting here talking, looks pretty much like 60 frames a second, or looks pretty much like 120 frames a second. If there's no movement, very little movement going on, you're not going to notice much of anything. But if you're doing action stuff, like if you're riding a bike, or if you're recording pickleball, or you're recording tennis, or something that has a lot of movement going on, the higher the frame rate, the blur doesn't look like it's blurring. Like if I did this with my hand at a slow frame rate, you'd actually see my hand kind of blurring as it's moving, okay? But if you had like 120 frames per second, it would literally look like it's not blurring. It looks like it's, wow, it's really crisp and sharp and clean. That's because it's taking 120 photos every second. So the resolution's greater and greater and greater, so you don't see that little blur that happens in between. Most people feel that, you hear people talking about cinematic look. That's shot at 24 frames a second. And the reason is because it creates a slight blur. Old film days, when people were using film, it was shot around 24 frames a second. So there's a certain type of blur or look to a film versus something like shot on a video. A video has that real crisp looking look to it. That's because it has more frames per second, okay? So the higher you do it, the more resolution it is. Some people like that look. Other people like that blurred look. So, all right, we got to get some water because I'm drying out and I'm starting to hear myself sounding kind of hoarse. Yeah. So anyway, here's my suggestion. Shoot at 30 frames per second. All right. Then you don't have to worry too much about too much blurring going on. And it's less for your camera to have to record. So it'll eat less battery. Okay. It'll be faster time to upload to YouTube and the like. So in the long run, for most people, 30 frames per second is good. So I shoot these videos at 4K at 30 frames per second. Yeah. So I started out at 1080p at 24 frames a second. Then I moved it to 30 frames a second. Then it went from 1080p to 4K. And since a lot of us has 4K monitors and 4K televisions, I wanted a higher grade of look to the video, so everything looks sharper and crisper. So that's how I do it. But it forced me to have to get a high-speed internet. If you watch the Russ is Right channel, I talked a little bit about it on one of the videos. My high-speed internet today now costs me $95 a month on Xfinity. It's like $85 plus I rent a modem from $10. Some people said just buy the modem. The thing is, they change it. Yeah, I've gone through a secondary modem now. They upgrade these speeds and you need a higher quality modem to do it. I didn't want to keep buying modems. I wanted to make sure everything was working fine. If I have a problem with the modem, I can just bring it back to them and say, hey, this isn't working right. They'll give me another one, okay? Because you're renting it from them, right? So I pay extra for this modem rental, which I don't like doing, but I find it easier at this point. So $95 a month is what I pay for this. Now, could I go to a lower speed thing? Sure, as long as I don't mind several hours to upload my video. If you don't mind that and you still want to do 4K, that's perfectly fine. It's not like it won't work. It will work. It just takes longer. But time is money, as they say, so I spend a little bit more to make sure it gets up there quicker. Now, the way I look at it is it's a cost of doing business, which Mrs. Wright hates me saying that because everything's a cost of doing business. She'd rather save the money. But it's frustrating, to spend hours waiting for your computer to finish because I'm doing other stuff on the computer all day long. I'm literally on the computer all day long. If I'm not riding a bike, I'm literally on the computer all day long. Some people are on their cell phones all day long. I'm on the computer all day long. And it's usually answering, comments and getting myself ready for the next video and all that. It does take some time and effort to do, once it becomes something that you're known to do and something that I kind of enjoy doing it, but it does take time. The actual recording time doesn't take me that long. Like making this video, it's whatever time, how long does it take me to do? Whatever the length of this time of this video is. That's how long it takes me to record it. And then when I do the editing, I don't edit that much, as you know. If I make mistakes, I just leave it. I don't care. You guys know that's my style. I mean, I leave whatever I record. The only time I edit something out is if I said something, I go, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'll take maybe a section out, But as far as like every mistake, I don't care. I don't think my viewers care either. I mean, they know me. That's what I do. If you're known to be that way, you can get away with it. If you always correct it and then you don't fix it one time, somebody will just say, hey, how come you didn't edit that out? I don't have time for that. It takes too much effort. I just want to get my ideas out there and record it. And if I make a mistake here or there, so well. It's just, oh well, that's just the way it is, you know. So touch the screen. There's a forward-facing screen on this camera, so I can see if things are moving properly or not. It's a very small screen. I think, is that even an inch? I'm looking. It's not even an inch. But I can see if I'm in frame or not in frame, and I can see if things are recording or not recording. Okay. All right, that's all I have for you guys for today. I just wanted to throw some basic ideas across for you guys, for at least for those who have mentioned that they had an interest in continuing to look at, you know, how do you make a YouTube video. This gives you some things to think about. Okay, think about whether you're going to use your camera, whether your cell phone, or whether you're going to buy a camera. You know, I would suggest if you can get away doing it with the cell phone initially, do it that way. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody's looking for perfection. I mean, you're not selling this network television. You can do whatever you want, really. The key is, you know, if you're going to hand-hold things, make sure you hand-hold it smoothly. Don't move quickly. If you move quickly, things look like it's blurring, and nobody wants to see things panning back and forth. You know, if you're moving the camera all over the place, you know, you don't want to give people a headache, okay? Go slow, you know, slower than you think. Okay, it looks better on camera. Plus, like I said about the blurring, you moving around that much, if you're, oh, look at this, look at this, you know, you're moving all over the place, you know what it's going to look like on the video? One big blur, because the resolution's not high enough, see? But if you move slow, like, oh, look at this, and you're moving the camera like this slow to get there, it'll look good on camera, okay? So, little things. And then, of course, practice talking. If you're narrating this thing, you know, you wanna be able to, you know, be interesting when you're talking. So, you know, some people edit every word out. I don't do that. People make mistakes. I don't care. Hopefully you don't care either. All right, that's all we got for today. Hey, if you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'll talk to you guys next time.